Let's today review this Tesla Model 3 Performance race car, and let's find out how the battery survived after 2 years in the racetrack and 10,000 kilometers of complete abuse. This Tesla Model 3 Performance was built in 2021, made in China, and this is the latest model of Model 3 which was still in performance version, which had a track mode, which we must have it in the track. Ringfreaks built this car in early 2022, and since then it was a rental car. And I can tell you, in 2 years we had zero problems with this car, but it has some downsides too. From the outside, as all Ringfreaks cars it has the Ringfreaks design, but we switched from yellow to electric green because this is an electric car. All the body panels and the glassing on the car is original, so there is nothing much modified. However, we did some small modifications to improve this car. Let's check them. In front of the car, you can notice that the front has Aerocatch mounts for the easy access from the outside, so it has no original electric lock. So if you need to go to the front, you simply open the Aerocatch mounts and you get in. Also, in the bottom, where the radiator grill is, there is metal mesh to protect the radiator from stones flying in the track. And one modification which you cannot see at the moment, we have removed the original flaps on the grill, because when you are driving faster, to improve aerodynamics, Tesla has small electric flaps which closes the intake for the radiator to improve aerodynamics. So we removed these flaps to increase the cooling. So in the front you can see we have BBS 19-inch wheel. We saved a little bit on weight because we went 1 inch lower compared to the original 20-inch wheels. And also we had a wider variety of tires to choose. So now we are trying Yokohama AD09 tires 245/40, and these tires actually work pretty well on dry and on wet track. Firstly, we tried with Pirelli tires, and we were too soft for this car because this car weighs 1,780 kilos, and it's quite tricky with these tires because we were simply too soft. When we switched to Michelin Cup 2 tires, and everything was perfect till it rains. So you have a very good grip on dry track, but if it rains, it became so slippery that it was kind of dangerous. Now we switched to these. We'll see, maybe it will be better. We had to improve the brake system in the front, so we went for Unplugged Performance PFC big brake kit, Brembo 6-pot caliper in the front, and 394mm disc, which barely fits in these 19-inch wheels. So the braking force is insane, lasts longer than the original ones. However, it has the one downside, because the disc is so thick and the caliper is so narrow, you cannot put too big of the brake pads, so you simply need to switch them more often. In the suspension, we used the KWV3 coilovers. However, from the whole kit, only the damper was used here, and we had to develop special spring mounts to use Eibach's harder springs compared to the KW. KW is good for the street, however not for the track. It's too soft and the car is too low. It usually drives on the bump stops, which can be really tricky, because when you have a compression in the suspension and you hit a bump stop too early, you may lose the grip instantly, so it's not suitable for the track. That's why this car is a little bit higher compared to other track cars, but it needs to have this travel down and up to have the grip constantly. In the back we run 1 inch wider wheels compared to the front, so in the back we have 9.5 inch, in the front 8.5, so we can run in the back 275/35 tire, same Yokohama, same story with tires as in the front. The brake system is original Tesla Performance. The brake disc is original. The only thing which we changed in the back is the brake pad, so it's also PFC endurance pad for improved performance. In the back we also had to make special mounts for Eibach springs because they normally do not fit, but now they fit and work good. In the back of the car you can see the most underrated modification by us. So this is this small gurney flap on the original spoiler of Performance. And this gurney flaps helps a lot at high speed. Because this is an electric car and it has a very small drag, it might make some lift in the back while driving very fast. And this gurney flap actually helps to make some downforce in the back to make it super stable at high speeds, especially over 200 kilometers per hour. On the trunk we have Aerocatch mounts for the easy access, because as well we do not run the original lock in the back, so even there is no power in the car, you can access the trunk and front. And also we have a towing hook, which is important for track days or even race. So let's check what we have inside of this Tesla. So while we are getting into the car, we can already see that the original door panel is switched to the carbon fiber one. The press to exit switch is still there, and also the electric window buttons are there. Also we have a small red thingy to pull in case the car has no power anymore, so it's an emergency exit to still open the doors manually. The passenger and driver has Parco QRTR seats equipped with 6-point harnesses to keep both passenger and driver safely, securely in the place, and also give some comfort while driving this race car. The complete dashboard and the main screen are left original and fully functional. In addition to that, we have added IM MXM logger. It will show you the GPS speed and also will track your lap time and position in the track, so later it can be used for improving the driving skill. The data logger is connected also with the dash camera, and it gives some data overlay on the camera, so it creates quite a cool videos from your drive, so it can be used just as a nice souvenir after your drive, or later can be used just to see where you did some mistakes in the track, so to improve your driving skill as well. In the engine bay, well, front, there is not much to see. This car has 2 engines, one in the front, one in the back, and it produces 534 horsepower, and so far it's the fastest Model 3. The luggage space we have cut out to have the better access to the radiator, also to the wires and all the other plugs. So when we are maintaining the car and checking, so we could easily track all the problems and maintain this car quicker. Now let's see what we have in the trunk. We have a small space for your belongings under the net, so it's a small comfort feature in this race car. In the back, of course, there is no seats because the roll cage is there, and you can see the top of the high voltage battery. On the floor we can find heavy duty aluminum floor mats with the footrest both for driver and passenger. The middle console is removed for weight saving. There we can find just a key card slot and also the hazard light. And before we go for a small test drive, let's check the battery degradation. And in all honesty, in the last 2 years when we were renting this car to the track and driving it quite a lot, I have never checked if the battery is degrading or not, so I'm personally also really interested to see if the battery is degraded a lot or not, because we have been using this car in the worst case scenario for the battery. Most of the time this car was driving with a lot of heat in the battery and also was charging a lot on the supercharger. So now this car has already driven 10,000 kilometers in the racetrack Nurburgring, and most of that time it was charging between the laps on the supercharger. So after 2 years, let's see what is the real degradation of this battery. So I have charged the battery to 100% now, so it would show 100%, and let's see what it shows in the kilometers. So it shows 480 kilometers. When this car was new, it was showing about 505, maybe 510. So we lost, let's say, 25-30 kilometers of range by Tesla calculation. So what do we have? 510, 480. So we have around 5-6% of degradation only. That's impressive. I'm really satisfied. I thought it will be like 15 or 20. It will be way worse, but this car can last in the racetrack too. 5% degradation after 2 years and 10,000 kilometers in the racetrack with the worst possible conditions ever for the battery. Now let's go for a small test drive. So the driver's seat is adjustable front and back, however not up and down. But the sitting position is in very normal height because I still have some space above my head, but I'm not sitting too low because we have the battery pack under, so the seats couldn't go lower. So it's just a normal position, and I think it fits most of the people. 6-point belts are also very simple to adjust, especially these short ones have all the adjustments on the top, so you can adjust them quickly. And now we have all the belts fastened, so we are ready for a small test drive. And this car, even it's a full race build, it has a very good comfort feature. So the outside cameras are still left functional. So if you go to the reverse, you will see on the cameras all the view around you. And why Tesla Model 3 Performance is such an interesting car as a track tool? Because it has a lot of power and it also has track mode. And track mode allows you to disengage the traction and stability control completely, which is really useful. As well, the track mode gives you additional cooling for the battery. It allows you to distribute the power between the front and rear axles in any amount you like, so you can have a completely front wheel drive or completely rear wheel drive car. And also it allows you to adjust the regenerative braking. So what kind of setup we use in the track while racing this car? So we use 40 in the front, 60 in the back power balance. We use zero regenerative braking, and we use stability control on zero. And some of you may say, hey, but it's a race car and it has no sound. Well, it has a sound. Once you remove all sound deadening material, you have a sound from engines. Listen to that. Once again, listen carefully. And you cannot tell me that's not an engine sound. And the power is like in most of the electric cars, it's so instant and so nice. And it's really a good thing when you have such a instant power delivery in the track, because once you're in the corner and you know and you see the exit and you can be on the full gas, once you press the gas pedal, well, I should say a power pedal, the car gets power instantly and it increases the speed so fast that you can gain so much when exiting the corner. Also, a very good thing of Tesla in the track, that it has no gears. So in some cars which has the gearboxes, doesn't matter automatic or is it a manual, when you're in the track and in some corners, third gear is a little bit too short, but fourth is just too much and you are between the gears. In this car you have always the power in any speed. So in any corner you have all the power you need, so you are never between the gears. So this is the benefit of electric car. Now let's check also these 6-spot Brembo brakes. Let's get some speed. Okay, it brakes really good. I need to say that the car weighs almost 1 ton 800 kilos plus me, so it's really heavy thing, but it still stops. Initial bite is not so extreme like in some cars, because the brake pad is endurance one, but it really has this constant and linear braking power. Okay. So I was just saying very good things about the car, but this car has some downsides too. To be honest, this is one of the first performance cars which were available for the vast majority of people, which were electric cars. And to be honest, it's still not suitable for real racing, like endurance racing. It's a really nice car for 2 or 3 very fast laps, but when you need to go to the charging. As well, between the laps, like in the Nordschleife, the laps are really long, it's 21 kilometer length. You need to have between the laps a small break to cool down the battery a little bit to have the complete power in the next lap. So it's a nice car for tourist drives or track days, just to have some fun, to do some training, but it's still not useful for racing. And driving this car feels a little bit sportier than normal Tesla. The steering wheel is very direct, so if you steer a little bit, it steers the car immediately. It's very direct and responsive, so it's really nice. Suspension, it's a little bit harder. It's not rough, but you can feel that it's hard. Overall, it's quite still comfortable and it's not tiring to drive this car at all. And all in all, I'm super proud of Ringfreaks team that we managed to build such project. We were one of the first in the world who were building Tesla Model 3 Performance as a race car, and we are definitely the first and only one who have it running in the track on the Nurburgring as a race car, and we are the only company who are renting it for any people who want to experience the Nurburgring in the electric car. So yeah, so personally I love this car to drive 1 or 2 laps, to have a good laugh and good fun, because it's really stable and really fast car, which is easy to drive it, and you can beat in the track some much faster cars like Porsches or other things, because you have the power delivery so instant. So it's a nice little car, and as well it's electric, which I really prefer to. So tell me in comments if you would like to drive such car on the track, or what you think about the electric cars on the racetracks. Maybe you hate it, maybe you love it, maybe you would like to build one. So comment it please, and well, see you soon.